Well, a smoke and 2 flashes for Adam. Maybe we'll see some of that structure come into play. Interestingly enough, Wisla going for full Kevlar across the board, and also 4 men towards the A-bomb site very early on. Overpass is one of those maps that you actually see a lot of kind of theory crafting in the pistols, particularly on that CT side. Heavy connector play. Maybe you rush into Monster early on. But I think this one is becoming more and more popular, playing in and around connector, so you can very quickly get a feel for where the T's are going and maybe rotate if you need to, or put up a fight if the case comes true. Dobbo finding 2 early on, and Era also taking the head of Spiro. I think that, honestly, very quickly has spelled a quick finish. Dobbo,
Oh!
Okay. Speaking of quick finishes, very nice little 2K towards the end. Gamerlegion with an explosive pistol. Hello.
I mean, we're talking about lost hot prospects. Looks like Dobbo wants to be, taking some places. He's already replaced Messi on the team. Maybe he can replace Messi in the people's hearts as well as the server. Now, that's a big ask, and an equally big ask would be for Wisla to come through with a round win. But we've seen a few crazy force spies so far. Maybe this could be one of them. I would have loved to see that scout in the hands of Hades. Honestly, I think this guy is blessed with anything with a scope on it. He's got one of the sickest ops I've seen in a while in tier 2, and it's got that classic tier 2 opping style, jumping around like crazy, killing people, repositioning, being quick to rotate, being quick to re-peek, and sure, it might not be the most efficient scrib, I agree, but you know what, it looks cool, and that's what I care about.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when you're watching a lot of CS at this kind of level. But it's an interesting kind of point that you raise, actually. I think he runs into some of the issues that Searson had and still kind of has, right? In the sense that, yes, indeed, he looks great with a scope, but you have to be really, really good with it because your rifling doesn't quite match up in a similar way, right? And I think that that's something that Searson at the moment has really hammered home and perfected, right? His AWPing is so strong right now. And I feel maybe Hades is in a similar kind of position.
Yeah, but it does help when you're the best scout player in the world, though.
Yeah, of course. But, it definitely limits you if you're going to be the master of that kind of technique. You really have to make sure that you are strong in it. How valuable, let's not get into it too much, but how valuable are you going to be if your AWP is not keeping up? Eagles in this round, though, of course. Oh, my goodness. Thank God Era takes him down. That could have been disastrous. It still could be. They're so low.
And now Goofy comes in with a quick one. They're both low, like you mentioned, and there's no time left. And Goofy, he can waste it. He's going for it, gets another. It's straight to the head. And while the plant goes on, Sparrow comes from the side and will finish off Era. A couple of quick kills from Ponchik allow Goofy to get into position. And Gamerlegion, they wait a little bit too long. Where I said Wisla might have to struggle, well, the Eagles are pretty good on the CT side of Overpass, especially if you're able to get a stack in the right place early on. And this is huge. This is really big for them, Script, because you've got yourself a CT side that, generally speaking, once you lose a this round, you can really devolve into a series of economic deficits. You win out of force spy, you take 2 AKs forward. That's a big boon to have.
Yeah, you put your opponents in an economic deficit, I suppose, right? A really difficult kind of decision. I am a fan early on, I think, of the conservative approach, certainly. There's an argument for both when it's 1-1, in all honesty. You can't really knock them for going for this. You couldn't really knock them if they decided to go for a force buy. My issue is in the previous round, right? I think against a potential and most likely a force buy, moving through such a tight choke point after you've lost someone through a smoke, I don't think is the move, to be honest. Moving into all those pistols, you're stacked on top of each other. It makes it hard to trade. The round could have been over even faster, right? If Era hadn't managed to thread the bullet through 2 of his teammates in front of him, So, yeah, I don't know. On your anti-eco kind of situations, sending the vast majority of players towards Monster is perhaps not the best idea. This is a clean little anti-eco, and emphasis on the eco, of course. No armor, no utility, just a few pistols. But the fact that they don't find anything is really good. As you can see, the money already starting to spiral a bit for Wisla.
especially when you consider all 5 players on Wisla actually went for rifles and stuck to it. Goofy even being as bold as to say, you know what, I'm going to keep my Kevlar without buying head armor in the previous round, even though we know that they're probably going to be on an eco or at best a force spy. So I don't know if that's a good decision or not, but at least I like the economic testing ground. When you're prioritizing utility that much, it's always good to see. But now here goes Sparrow, waits for it, but the flashbang catches him out as well. Jedker, his nade is massive. Huge damage dealt, and as they're able to back off on the CT side, a second one is lined up, and it won't be finding anything.
Nice damage, though, I suppose, so far. It is a bit of a shame that second one may well have added to it, maybe even found a kill in and of itself. Oh, key fight to be winning. Dobbo going to get it as well. Goofy, don't know, man. On your own, walking into that angle, it's kind of tough. You have to commit to the one that you're in. But I think he would have been traded at the very least with the doubling up that they were going for in Connector. Much, much better this time around from Gamerlegion. Of course, it is a full-on rifle buy, so perhaps in a way a bit more stress into it. Nice little angle from Hades to catch Dobbo off guard, however. And very quickly, information's going to come in. Yeah, he's alone. There's nobody else there. Great little jump peek from Zero. Read like a book, but the right-click nade comes flying in. Trades him back immediately. These even trades, of course, going to benefit the T side if they move quick. The rotations are coming in and around the pillar. Ponchek trying to end the round. Not going to happen for him. One-on-one, and somehow Rusty gets away with that. Hades had the drop on him, but couldn't find the shot fast enough. A big 1v3 in a way from Rusty coming through.
Huge from Rusty right there, and it looked like Ponchek should have been able to clean up both players. They had lined up for him, but just a whiffed spray that can't be continued for long enough. And you can see the impact of that early nade. Gamerlegion, just an underhanded nade is enough to take away any advantage they seem to have found as well. Afterwards, Ponchek's just playing around the pillar. He's got great patience, but when push comes to shove, when it's time to get the full spray down, he's just not able to do so. Now, though, you've got to start wondering, the CT economy, it has been bolstered a little bit. Let's not get it wrong. We're there in the previous 2 rounds, but that's just giving them one more buy. You look at the loss bonus, it's still not significant. It's still not particularly great. And Gamerlegion, they could very well break this money right here and now. Hades on the op has to be a major factor. And where's he headed off to? Well, it's going to be a pick towards Monster, and that's where they're going to on the T side. This could either be magnificent or tragic.
I think able to just about cross over fast enough. Flash going in. Not a massive blind coming in from short. There's the AWP revealing itself. Dobbo going to catch him off guard. It's a nice idea to reposition. Unfortunately, just not reading the situation correctly. Gets caught off. Now the pressure is on Jedka to do the heavy lifting. Good for one, but that is all. Now a 3-on-2. And well, okay, I was going to say, do they want to go for it? But a quick find onto Dobbo. I guess no smoke towards heaven. Means that they're able to even things back up into a 2-on-2.
And this 2-on-2 has Era pushed up close, gets 1 and 2. There you go. Era, who'd already found map control closer and closer, makes it significantly easier to play that position anyhow. In case they go for a boost on the CT side over concrete, Era can just wide swing out from the side, get both, make it look easy. So that position, incredibly strong. Not to mention, it's got great repeat potential and some safety from heaven, because you can't peek it from heaven unless you fully come out onto the balcony. So that's always there.
And like you predicted, like you said, it has wrecked them. A key turning point in this first half, maybe, or at the very least in the early stages of this first half. It is a back and forth game so far. Certainly the way that Gamerlegion sometimes approach things. I think, you know, I follow Adam on Twitter, and he makes a few comments every now and then, even when they won against Fate yesterday and whatnot. It's great resilience to mount a bit of a comeback here or there, but we have some messy situations in places.
Yeah, but Script, you know what? I want to be talking a little bit about our matching t-shirts. No, I'm joking. We've just got a little bit of technical difficulty going on right now. We're going to sort it out. We're going to be back in the game in 5, 4, I might be lying, 3, 2, I was definitely lying. But yeah, you know what we can do though? We can give you a little bit of radio commentary in the meanwhile, because Gamerlegion, they've set up 2 players outside of Monster, but the rest of them are going for a bit more of a connector control play on the terrorist side. On the CT side, you've got Wisla, who've got 1 player on Toxic, a player playing from the back of B, looking to be the rotator towards A, 1 in Toilets and Divider, 1 right behind the Divider, and finally 1 CT player over in Long. Neither team's gotten too much map control. CT side don't have much utility, and they do have their full weaponry, but this would be their last chance to use it. Money is non-existent, and this is where a bit more utility used over towards that B-bomb site. From the terrorists. I had to add that. My bad. Radio casting. Forgot. It's been a while.
Of course, of course. Yeah, not too much changing since then, to be honest. A little bit of posturing from the T side. Nice boost idea here, but I don't think going to see too much success. Should hopefully be back into the action here for you guys. So, thankfully, the players are very, very nice, and not a lot has gone down. So you've not really missed much. Just a minute of throwing nades about, trying to find the opening pick, but nothing really presenting itself. It looks like Gamerlegion are setting themselves up with about 30 seconds left here onto a B burst, and well, it's a risky one. They are savvy to the fact on that Wisla side of things. Rotations coming over thick and fast. Nice find from Zero while blind. To be fair, Rusty able to eliminate Hades. It's up on top of the smoke is the form of Jedka. He's able to find 1 big damage onto more. Error going for the bomb plant, somewhat risky. Leaves his teammates open. He will eventually go down as well, and now it is all left onto Dobbo to clutch up.
And now Sparrow, he just has to make sure he's holding Dobbo inside the smoke, moving past it, gets the diffuser down and out, and now back to a 1v2. Man set up nicely, lines it up as well, but this diffusing, and they should be able to get this done. Goofy's not being checked, he's not expecting this, and Goofy, the full 10-second diffuse comes in. Dobbo thought he had it done, Dobbo thought he had it over with, but not only does Goofy get the diffuse, he even gets to save the op.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Benefit of hindsight here, but I think the move is to run through the smoke, honestly, just to make sure. If the guy is on the bomb, he does have to stick it. There's no time to get off, kill him, and get back on the bomb, even with a kit. So, yeah, like I say, it's tough. In that 1v1 situation, well, 1v3 situation, it's always nice to have a little bit of extra time to think. Nice find from Rusty. Goofy biting off way more than he can chew. We have seen some very passive rifle rounds from both sides to begin with, so maybe thinking he can mix things up by getting aggressive, catch them with nades in hand. It's not the case, and it's an easy opener, to be frank. I think they're going to hear all this clomping towards the B bomb site, however, from short. Will they be expected? Oh no, Team Flash comes in. An easy pickup onto Adam. However, it's a very strange kind of situation right now. Smoke is not really going to help out Zero. He gets taken down as well. This MP9 running rampant will eventually drop. Ira's got to find this frag, and he will. That could be the turning point of the round, as the remaining CTs are split across the map. And of course, they're a man down on this retake.
They still look like they want to go for it, though. If Hades can take down Dobbo, that would be massive, but it looks like it might be a double peek coming through, and as Hades pulls out his knife, there's a peek from the other side, and he's been cut off. Sprays going through the smoke, Hades being tagged up, and Rusty will get the kill. That's going to be 5 for Gamerlegion, and as they move forward, the CT economy is absolutely... I'll use a polite word. Demolished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Not in a good spot.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are using different words in Polish.
Indeed.
But all the same. Rough couple of rounds. For Wisla, unfortunately. And Gamerlegion starting to sink their hooks in. Again, just to remind you guys, this is Gamerlegion's map pick. Train to come up next for those who are concerned. And Nuke to finish us off. How about that for a best of 3? Certainly not 3 maps you generally see in that kind of order. Yeah. Nuke as a decider is a strange one, but it is what it is, as they say.
It's also always weird not to see, you know, Inferno or Mirage in the map pool for a best of 3. It's always just like, yeah, you expect to see it. But yeah, in the meanwhile, they've got control over the B-bomb side. you know, unlikely that you can get much done over here. As the CTs, a kill comes through. It's a Mac 10. They're unaffected by it. And it'll just be a 4v3. No one's really peeking them out from the terrorist side, and I like to see that. But Jedker will at least recover the SMG, whatever good it may do him.
Maybe an opportunity at one more if they walk towards Spiro, but I don't think so. They're kind of giving that respect across. Stacked. The Mac 10 tries to get that $600 juicy kill bonus. Unfortunately, not going to happen. So going as you would expect. To be fair, I think taking down one is decent, but it's only a Mac 10. It does force a buy up, of course, but even then, they're smart with their economy and get one of their richer players to drop him across.
I don't like the full M4 decision over here.
Why's he got a Deagle for? Or did he live?
No, he lived.
Okay, I was gonna say.
No. Anyhow, now that we're done with that, yeah, but Wisla don't really have any pharmacists, which means they only have a single Molotov to be used across this round. So expect to see some sort of aggression from them. But the question is, where is that aggression going to come from? The only person with a flashbang is actually Jedker, and he is in a good place to use it to push out towards Monster Tunnel if they want to do so. But that's not going to be too easy. Ponchik now lies in wait. He's used his smoke as well. This is really just going to be a slow death, but Gamerlegion are going in a bit too quick. They'll still get the opener. Ponchik is down, but Jet's going to trade, and he's still alive, but not for long. Rusty finds that kill, and rotation will be there from Sparrow, but not in a timely manner from the rest of his teammates. So they still have to wait, contemplate, and maybe just give it up.
Yeah, I agree. It's a weird situation that you're in, though, isn't it? To be fair, right? You could half buy, but then you're probably giving them another freebie. Saying that, they didn't do too well against your force buy in round number 2, so you could try and replicate that again. Or you go for the M4s. It's really like a philosophy thing, isn't it? If you're a passive team, you half buy. If you're a more aggressive team in that sense, you go all in. I think either scenarios need you to find something a little bit incredible. You know, it needs Jedker on the back of the B bomb site to get 2 or 3 kills by himself in that kind of situation. That sort of thing, which is hard to rely upon. But this one leaves you having to half buy around the M4s anyway. So, yeah, I think it's just a case of the CT economy, you know, being really, really tough to deal with. And maybe a little impatient from Wisla.
Well, now it's all about what Gamerlegion wants to do. And I will say this, I really respect it from Gamerlegion that their changes of pace have not been, they've not been spread across the map as maybe you'd like to see, but they've been very nicely spaced across the half, because you've seen them sometimes slow it down immensely, go for a default. They're keeping Wisla guessing, and that's one of the things about Overpass, which is so incredibly important, which is you really rarely want to actually hit that A-bomb site, but you have to at least threaten it. So you can't just stack, but Goofy's got a free kill. Rusty was exposed. That was not forgivable.
Yeah, that's a blunder, as they would say in chess. Certainly in the mind games right now, it's going to give Gamerlegion a lot more work to do. Ooh. Oh, okay. I thought he'd missed his window, but he just went for the harder shot of the 2. Love that. That's a great little bit of decision making, isn't it, as well, to instead of go for that super hard reactive shot, he just placed his crosshair where he's going to land. But Hades, of course, taking all the thunder away. 2K from behind does eventually go down, but not before Zero is left all by himself with all of the work to do. And I feel it might be a bit too much for him, that Nade not really finding anything. He is 18 HP, of course, so we'll recover the bomb. There is a player watching this cross. Oh, Jedker. Okay, that's a little problematic. The round, in and of itself, probably still not going to happen, but the bomb plant, always nice.
Yeah, and Zero's actually on the side right now. He's got the plant. He can see and isolate at least one duel, but they're all coming from each side, and at least the retake is played very appropriately. Extra money for the terrorist side is never good, though, if you're a fan of Wisla, but They were going to have a full buy regardless anyhow, so there is that to say. Going into the last vestiges of the half, it's very difficult to break the economy. Wisla take 3 AKs forward. I think they can also find an AWP. Yes, they can. And Hades with a big 2K coming in from behind, despite the equalizer from Era, is very important.
Yeah, definitely the turning point. Just getting his timing down. Maybe, again, that kind of Gamerlegion discipline issue in a sense, right? Just need to tighten up a little bit. One of those two players needs to be watching behind, or I believe there was a player at long, actually, as well, who came in and got the trade frag eventually, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Maybe not, you know, informing them that he's actually not watching anything, etc., etc. It's an oversight. It costs them. Dobbo needs to be careful. Don't go wide. Actually, Hades missing the shot, and now Goofy is left to battle his way out. That's certainly not the way that I felt that exchange would go down. But it is a 1-for-1 trade. The AWP falls after, I guess, missing a bit of an easy shot. Adam charges in. Oh, a great little flash over the top here. Meanwhile, Ira's still able to trade back, though. It's a chaotic round so far, T-Time, that's for sure.
And right now, it might be even more chaotic as Rushy's been boosted up. Jedka on the side will not be visible, but he will be heard by Jedka. And Jedka with the information gained now is just holding the angle and holding the line to see if someone's creeping past Monster. They're not too fussed about short, but that nade is going to be pretty chunky. Rusty, however, moves past it beforehand, and now in his retreat is still not... What? That was on his feet. No, he was right behind the sandbag. That makes more sense then. I thought he got CSGO'd for a second, but Rusty peeks out. Great entry to find on a completely flashed opponent, and Jedka on the side might be next, but the spray transfer's there, and Era's all alone. 1 versus 2, P250 in hand. Jedka's very low, but he'll still get the kill. 3K and 5 rounds for Wisla to take it away.
Been waiting for one of those moments. Jedka has been in a position to do something like that on the B-bomb site numerous times, but every round apart from that, it feels like he just immediately gets shut down. Gets his solid 1 frag, but shot in the back. Or there's no one really around to help him and distract the rest of the T side. So he has to put up a pretty incredible fight. That time, things work out. In and around the smoke, finds the hard frag, gets the player who's low. And it is a nice pickup against the AWP. Albeit the chunky crab walk round the corner, of course, from Ira, giving Jedka the upper hand. But like I say, been waiting for that for a while, and it pays off. It's a big round to get it done in when they're once again at kind of breaking point, and now they've put Gamerlegion at breaking point. Maybe they can hold off once again. Quick burst from short coming in. Not looking good, though. Meat grinder, of course, between Jedka and Spiro. It's a desperate attempt. The flash, I think, semi-effective, but of course not going to blind everybody up that's on that bomb site. They've not really worked anywhere else. And just immediately get shut down. Big nade going in as well. I think that's going to seal the deal.
It doesn't really look like Gamerlegion's got a way back into it, and if they lose over here, that should be a 7-7, 7-6 with the way their money's gone. Now, loss bonus is also not really particularly pretty. With Era going down, they might even have to just full save at this point. Their loss bonus is at 2,900. You know, going into the last round, you want to have some semblance of buy as well, so a forced buy, for me, would be a bit of a mistake, but they can pull out 2 AKs if they really want to go for it. Instead, it will just be more of a keep your money around that 2.5k mark. See if you can get a couple of kills with the Deagles. If Wisla could do it, why can't we? Wisla, in the meanwhile, though, have found themselves a way back, but I have to say, Script, nothing too flashy from the AWP of Hades thus far.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe a question of comfort on the map, something along those lines.
They haven't played it that much, only 2
Yeah, I
months
was going to say, not
months.
seen too much of Wisla on Overpass, personally, so I don't think it's up there.
Oh!
Tap from Spiro, there you go. Clean stuff to open us up. Adam says, thanks very much. Free Deagle. Here says, thanks very much. Free P250. Cool, there you go. Trickle-down economics.
There you go. You have to kill 1 person for it to work.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if there's going to be any more killing going on, as it seems like blood is in the waters. And Wisla. Jedka might have a Goku picture, but he is a shark for sure. With that said, though, Goofy's found Adam, and this is just it's more of a straightforward round. If you can get the CTs to waste most of the utility in it, even then it doesn't matter that much. Even kills aren't as impactful unless you get at least 3 of them. CT economy is in a very good place right now, and it doesn't look like it's likely to change. If they want to go for a double up in the next round, they can, but at least that additional kill puts them in a better spot. 3 versus 3. Now, it's all about Rusty. Can he find this? Yes, he can. Takes down Hades, and he's got himself armor as well. Smokes out Garage, and while the bomb rotates over, it's up to Jedka and Goofy to see what they can get done. 8 seconds, though, and that's a timer.
Oh, nade going in. Oh, it's close. It's very close indeed, but they're able to get the bomb down. Whether they clutch up is another question. Crack angle from Rusty. Got to be careful. He's the only one with armor. And of course, he and Era are low. Great frag onto Jedka. Goofy going to fall to the AWP as well. That is an absolute mare from Wisla. To be honest with you, Hades missing a relatively easy shot, maybe putting himself under a lot of pressure. You commented on him not quite putting in the performance that maybe we generally expect from him. And I think he has missed a few shots here and there, perhaps in his own mind, his own worst enemy kind of vibe at the moment. And certainly something in that round that cost them in a big, big way, to be honest, not taking down Rusty, who was the danger man, the AK retrieved with the armor, difficult to delete, you know, where the other 2 players were on deagles for the most of the round and had no armor, of course. Easy work for the automatic weaponry. So yeah, they will be kicking themselves after that one. It's given Gamerlegion the leg up as well, moving into the second half, of course. That timeout was called by Gamerlegion as well, so they're really looking to take that inch they've just got in the previous round, turn it into a couple miles if they can.
Goofy, meanwhile, would really love to be able to drive in this position. He's not been too bad, but Jedka is the one to actually find something. This time expecting the boost, last time caught off by it, but the terrorist side still has full control of the toilets if they actually go into it. Goofy's the only person nearby enough to contest, and look, man, that's an M4A1, okay, Scriv? That's close range deals with an M4A1. It generally doesn't work out too well for you.
Yeah, usually it's not the best scenario you want to be in. Rapid fire. And now they've just kind of immediately cut a limb off, you know, moving into the early portions of the round. Nice little boost up from Hades as well. Able to take down Era. Things are looking worse and worse. 45 seconds left. Got to try and move in. It looks like they're going to commit to the A-bomb site, but I think that is easier said than done. There's an AWP still alive, and Hades now finally finding his mojo. Goofy chimes in for that final shot, but a nice finish from Wisla. So here we are, 8-7 at the turn of the half.
Yeah, this will be an interesting second half for me coming through. It really did look like Wisla was in position to actually take it to an 8-7 in their own favor. That thrown deagle round, anti-deagle round rather, I'm just more curious than anything else. What's the mental impact of that on them? Because, like you said, it's not just that there were some sick deagle shots hit that you just weren't expecting. It's also the fact that, hey, we missed our shots. Jedka, meanwhile, getting some comfortable warm-up round kills. Always love to see that, but yeah, strange things from Wisla when you consider how much of a slower game Hades has had. Normally you see him really going above and beyond the rest of his team in terms of the scoreboard at the very least, but this time, not as much.
Yeah, it's certainly curious. I think it would be good, you know, this is where getting a bit of comment from the players and all that kind of stuff would always help, right? But it's not always the case, not always doable. But just to get inside and figure out, I think it comes down to the map for me. I just don't think as comfortable on it, right? And generally speaking, you can indeed have set up your defaults, your protocols and things for sure. I think if you've not done that, it has to be a permaban, or you know, you're kind of in dire straits with the squad. But for me, it's more like you can see when they're not as comfortable on it when they are losing those quote-unquote easier rounds, right? When a massive spanner gets thrown in the works. Rifle rounds, certainly there can be things that catch you off guard, but when it comes to kind of force buys and things like that, it's a little harder to deal with. I don't know. It's curious. It's certainly curious to me why Hades is a little quiet as well. I think that's the big one that we're going to harp on, and hopefully steps it up. That next map, like I mentioned, is great. Supposed to be an Orpus playground, you know? That's
true, but we've also got to consider it's also sort of Gamerlegion's playground. It's their best map. It's they've got a 67% win rate on it, and no, this is not one of those they won 2 maps out of 3. No. They've won 6 maps out of 9 that they've played. Now, Wisla themselves, they've won 6 out of 10 in the last 3 months, but you've got to start wondering, okay, this map disparity is not, it's no small thing.
Yeah, I think so, right? It's kind of strange for me. Like I said at the start of the show, I don't think Wisla play an awful lot of other tournaments and whatnot. So sometimes that can make things kind of difficult for them in terms of the application, in terms of playing against squads like Gamerlegion, who can be a bit more touch and go in their style, I suppose. But yeah, I think breaking into the second half, if we touch on that, talk about that, there is an awful lot of pressure on Gamerlegion now, I think. Some of the rounds relied on a few individuals to perform, for sure, right? And I think if they run into the same kind of issues with those force buys and things coming a little bit too close for comfort, then the CT side is much more punishing when you lose those types of rounds.
Well, now we're back into the second half, and let's find out what exactly is in the cards. Rusty, he's got himself 2 flashes and a kit. No one else really buying anything other than Kevlar on the CT side. Well, Wisla, they have a double P250. Generally, you want to see them going for long control when you're prioritizing that, but instead, it still looks like they're setting up for a B-side hit where there's a line of blue. And that generally doesn't spell anything particularly good for the terror side.
Kind of a deadly setup they've got, but it can be quickly overwhelmed. Those USPs miss a couple shots. The Glock train comes to town. At the moment, they've got Spiro on the other side of the map just trying to bait things out. I do like this from Era, a little bit of spotting and, of course, a little bit of headshotting. Very nicely done indeed, and with a minute left, they're a man up.
And it all comes off the back of Adam actually coming in for a peek through short from B short into the sewers tunnel. He's able to get them forced back and the information, so that's where Era knows that they'll have to start rotating just a little bit, or at least taking a face against him, and he uses the USP perfectly. Now though, it's all about Sparrow over there on the other side, because Goofy's down and now Sparrow has to lead the charge onto the A side. Has the P250, so there's definitely firepower to be utilized, but as he's getting closer and closer to them, he doesn't catch them out at the time, and Dobba goes down, but Sparrow's not done yet. Re-peeks outwards, Era's tag, but Era's got the bag. And now it's a 4-on-2, but Era finally falls, and the bomb is still not planted. 14 seconds, they're trying to delay. They're trying to force Jedka to die after time, but with 8 seconds left, seems like he's looking for kills, and he's found 1. Can there be more? They're running around, they're darting and evading, they're dodging everything they can, but Jedka will not get his loss bonus.
No, and that's going to be an issue moving into this round. I suppose they are going to be forcing up, but all the same, would have been nice for him to have a bit more cash available. Putting in a performance, always looking good, right? Able to get 1 or 2 kills in most rounds, it feels like, or at the very least, most rounds that have impact. Unfortunately, I think Goofy going down towards short is the difference maker. Maybe should have gone with the rest of the team in an even man scenario. I do get the idea of having that lurker out there, but it's a big area to lose, and ultimately not really buying any time, not really doing any damage. He goes down instantly, so he gets like nothing for the cost of his death, if that makes sense. So that for me is the big turning point in that previous round.
This time, though, we have to find out whether or not Wisla can pull off another second round of victory. Not something you can really rely on, at least that's what we'd like to tell ourselves, but one remembers fondly, and some with trauma, the days of the great French 2015. But those days are indeed gone. Now it's all about Deagles in the second round, no longer the CZs and the Tech 9s. But even so, those Deagles can be deadly.
Oh, they're playing with fire. Good little flick across to stay alive. He says, yeah, he's walking into many a crosshair right now. Somehow still alive. Adam up close, able to capitalize as well. Goodness gracious. He's a lucky son of a gun, as they say. Adam cleaning up house right now on this MP9, making some cash money. And I think with those 2 frags, that should, in theory, spell victory. Ooh, careful. Don't give him another shot at that. Yeah, indeed. Jedka recovering the bomb back. Deagle able to finally drop Adam. And there's a couple low HP players. They need to be careful not to swing too wide, not to give too many fights across, as Jedka does not appear to be missing right now. Awfully close onto Rusty, but eventually does go down.
Also quite nice if they can keep the MP9 available on Dobbo. If they, had that additional few MP9s that they bought up it early on, it would have been even nicer. But now, they still have chances to get money, and I love this. Rusty actually buys up another MP9. They're sticking to the triple MP9. That I love a little bit less, but at least 2 would have been great to see. You have completely unarmored opponents now against you. There's 2 Deagles, yes, but this is a big chance for Gamerlegion to solidify their economy in ways that were not available to Wisla on their CT side.
Playing into connector. There we go. The face comes in, and they learn maybe why they should stay passive. Ira, meanwhile, oh, nice little double spray down coming in. Nearly goes down, but that's your initial fragging damage that you want. Rusty, meanwhile, through the smoke. Akemia to listen out for Shapiro's steps. More frags for the MP9s. They are making a lot of bank. It's a very good point that you make. All these MP9s are cushioning that CT economy.
So, MP9's paying for itself as well for all of them. Jedka now is going to be hunted. There are money-hungry sharks in the water, and they're searching around to find what they can. That would be a much more fun show if Shark Tank was actually just people running after eco-frags. Well, okay. We went very different directions there. We went very, very different directions there, okay?
I'm sure.
Let's go back to the game.
Yeah, I'm sure that idea for a show has been pitched, but unfortunately, it's not a solid idea.
Running after eco-frags, I agree. But now, we've got ourselves a full buy from Terror's side and 3 MP9s. This is where the MP9 can be a little bit more dicey.
Yeah, I don't know. Keeping everybody on the bonus buy here. Of course, Dobbo had the M4 in the previous round. Actually retrieved from a teammate, from Ira to be specific. So he's cool, he's happy, but I would like to, even just an AWP to back it up, so you've got a little bit more prowess when it comes to the weapon department. It really does limit you. They're also going for a kind of gamble setup as well with 4 players on that B bomb site. Not really anything obvious right now from Wisla, to be fair, even to us with all the information. They are playing an A-side default, as they would say. That's probably what the call is here, with 1 player, of course, holding B to make sure there's no crazy flanks coming in. But at the moment, they still have that option to drop back, go towards B, or even down connector a little later on.
Well, it all comes down to what Era can actually get done with the MP9. He's got no utility. He's playing a very close-up angle. This is the ultimate sacrificial lamb position, but can this lamb actually beat up some wolves before it dies is the question. And, well, looks like he sees Hades, but Hades will be the one to get the kill while Adam will trade. Now, there's still another MP9 available in the toilets, and that's Rusty's, but he himself is trapped in the situation. While Adam falls, he'll peek, and he will go with Adam.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think they're going to go for the retake here, so I can kind of break it down. I think you have the issue, of course, of the weaponry. The FAMAS fight against the AK is very awkward. If that had been an M4, the amount of time that Hades took may well have fallen to it. Slightly more comfortable weapon for Ira, I believe. But it's more the fact that they have 4 over towards B, and then they're very, very quickly trying to patch the holes on that A bomb side. Not really set up properly to support one another. Yeah, it's kind of messy for me. I think if you are going to rotate back towards A, you probably need to just put everybody on site instead of trying to contest the battle. let the guy in bathrooms who was there do his thing, and then roll back. Very, very strange kind of setup for me from Gamerlegion. They have the rounds, they have the money. I don't know that you need to do something that risky, though, in the first kind of official rifle round of the second half. Everybody goes down in the end as well, so that idea of saving a couple weapons across doesn't even work. And they're immediately out of money if they lose this round. So it's a tough scenario.
It also doesn't help when you've got 5 sets of head armor and 4 sets of kits, which is never a good sign for the side on Overpass. But hell, maybe they can still make it work over here. Ponchik moving past Esea inside the connector with an AWP. Not an orthodox angle at all, but it's one which is punished. Meanwhile, Sparrow flashes overhead, will be going forward. It's all up to Adam inside the toilets. Gets one caught with a nade out in his hand was Goofy. And as he falls, Adam can just smoke himself off and back off. The in-game leader trying to play it smart, trying to play it cool. But he's even trying to push through the smoke. And if he moves to the side, that could be big if he can just come in and flank the divider. But instead, he moves back and is waiting for the long side peek.
Oh, no. Oh, he checks it, but Spiro is faster to the mark. Sharp aim. And a key frag. We do have players here relatively quick on the CT end. Nice gap in the smoke to work with as well. Rusty, got to be careful. But again, Hades. Missing shots, man. You know, either be more patient or just don't miss, I guess. Easier said than done, but Jedka 1v3 nonetheless. They know where the bomb is. They know vaguely where he is, and Zero will swing out to take him down. But yeah, again, the big difference maker is Hades missing. I wouldn't necessarily say an easy shot on the edge of the smoke, to be fair, but they're becoming more and more noticeable.
Just these small issues popping up really do look like it's a map pool issue for the side of Wisla. The smoke not lighting properly. I will say that was a good kill to find on Esea. Esea as well, though, not being very quick to descend down connector, which means that the T's will always have the advantage in that case. So slightly strange peak from the AWP, but he felt like he had to go for it. He felt like he had time to go for it as well. Didn't want to give away his position. Now, though, I'm curious about what Esea wants to do, because one thing we didn't really see was we didn't really see any peaks down to Fountain from the op on the CT side of Wisla. We didn't really see Hades being too dynamic, and I know Erea's got the capabilities. The question is he going to exercise them?
What are you thinking about this buy?
I mean, I don't hate it because, being down 8-13 guaranteed it's a very difficult spot to put yourself in when you're not really used to playing Overpass, especially on the T side. You do want to have, you do want to have at least a chance of breaking down some walls, but Double, in the meanwhile, has broken down some T's, and Zero's following up. Looks for more, but Ponchik evens the score, and now it's Ponchik with a second, but Hades with another death. And that'll be Gamerlegion taking it away. Rusty and Esea just come through, clean up the house, and well, I guess that's what I think of the bioscript.
Yeah, indeed. They kind of show us, don't they? Very, very telegraphed, very, very obvious. I think, honestly, not the cleanest of holds from was it Esea and Dobbo, I believe, holding towards the monster angle, because they both kind of start to look at each other's angles. Not a lot of, not necessarily like trust, but you know what I mean. They want to do the work themselves. That I'm going to peek towards short as soon as something's there. That left monster exposed, and they actually kind of got a little bit screwed after not finding an awful lot, considering their positions and their knowledge. But because it was so telegraphed from Wisla, the rotations are incredibly quick, and therefore the rest of the boys able to clean up house. Early aggression coming into this round. It is another half-buy kind of scenario, as the Wisla economy towards the end of this first map is all over the place. Oh, nice little headshot coming in from Hades. Here we go. Maybe one of those flashy rounds that we're expecting to see.
Well, maybe it's time for Esea, and indeed it is. He's got his second, looks for more, knows where the third player was, and he saw the head moving over, and now he sees the head rolling over on the side away from its body. Jedka, left alone, will be brought down as well. 4 players kept alive, and that's what I'm talking about. Esea in the past 3 rounds has now demonstrated 3 separate positions which he has played from. This time he starts off outside long. Before we saw him on B, and before that he tried to go into connector. That's the kind of dynamic hopping that you really want to see coming through from a player, and maybe it'll just continue. But Wisla now finally have at least somewhat of an answer. Hades has his own, but can he actually find the duel?
Yeah, I don't know whether it is a Hades this evening or it is a map thing. At the moment, it feels like a map thing. I hope going into train things pick up for the squad in general. Gap in the smoke, Goofy utilizes it. Adam tried to catch him off in exactly the same spot, but not going to happen. Key frag for Era to find early on, making sure to get a nice trade. However, Hades has taken down Dobbo, as it looks like they tried to get aggressive through Monster together. 4 on 3 very, very quickly. 1 minute and 15 left on the clock, and no real idea of where the committal is coming in here from the from the T side, sorry. So, kind of hard to predict. They're massively split across the map. They have to hope that maybe this position in towards short is going to pay off. Goofy drops Rusty. Zero also falls as he tries to find something. So that'll be the round, folks. Era probably going to hold on to the orb and give Wisla a 9th.
And it all comes off the back of just the slightest of a timing going on, where Adam peeks into the smoke right after Goofy does, allowing Goofy the initial kill. Otherwise, when you're down 5 versus 4, the CTs can turtle up so much more effectively after Era gets that kill in connector, but they're just not able to follow up. And one thing I have to commend Wisla for is the fact that they're able to avoid Era so effectively, because Era did change up his position pretty heavily. He did peek into tunnels, into toilets, he did peek into a long, but Wisla in the meanwhile had already retreated from any of those positions and had started making ground over towards B. They catch up a few players and they make it work.
It's a nice round. It's a nice round. It's going to give you a little bit to work with moving forwards, of course, but like little more work to do. Even into this round, they're going to have a buy available, so you know, keeping things quiet, not saying anything too drastic just yet, tea time. I know I am ever the optimist in situations like this. I do love being an Englishman, a good underdog story. But I also have to be a realist. And, well, in isolation, it's a nice round, isn't it? But the general picture still looking pretty much the same.
Well, I mean, we are in a place where the CT economy can now finally be properly reset as well, so that's always good to see. So this round actually is incredibly important for Wisla, because this could be the precipice of their comeback. This could be, sorry, the backbone, rather, of their comeback. If they can take this one round away, Gamerlegion is in a position where they've got a single round, 2 rounds as loss bonus, terrible economy, and Wisla should be then securing a 14-11 and maybe even more off the back of that. But you've got to move past this one first and foremost, and as smokes come out from the CT side and a lot of utility is used up, the terrorists have not indicated at all where they want to go.
Yeah, once again, right? There's a minute gone. They've really gained, like, no ground. It's very, very strange. Overpass is not necessarily the worst map to do that on, though, I suppose. Just play, like, a solid default, see what sort of response Gamerlegion come up with. And then 20 seconds left, burst onto the B-bomb site, you know, and try and overwhelm them, Na'Vi style. You do see, especially at this tier 2 level, a lot of teams like to try and go for that. Again, Adam getting caught off guard. You know, he's trying to be proactive here on the CT side. It's not really working out for him. Dobbo, meanwhile, Rusty, meanwhile, able to put up the numbers as they have been all game, holding things down on that B-bomb site. 10 seconds left, tea time.
They couldn't get on.
No.
And this all comes down to the fact that Rusty is able to rotate back onto the B-bomb site from A, because he recognizes he's the only person with a Molotov across his team because of how many mollies Gamerlegion used early on. And that's one of the great things about Overpass on the CT side, is how quickly you can actually rotate players on the basis of utility because of those small rotation times. Rusty blocks off a shot, and then Dobbo has got a smoke from Monster Tunnel. He's able to spray into it, get a quick kill, and when they get that kill, they already know there's a man who is all the way over in toilets. There just isn't enough time for the terrorist side, so they just have to keep applying some pressure, spraying through smoke, doing what they can, and they get the round out because of it. Now, Era started off the next with an immediate kill.
The first nail into the coffin. Very least for Overpass. Still not impossible to recover back, but Wisla have not done too well from these behind kind of situations for the vast majority of their T half. We'll see. I think the fact that it's so early on as well is really, really, really detrimental. Trying to find something tea time, but just nothing showing itself. Even a nade as Goofy goes for a blind spray. One check a little lucky that Era decided to get the smoke out. But all the same, things not looking good. 50 seconds left. It's kind of deja vu of the previous round, but one man down. So my hopes for this one, somewhat slim.
Well, hopefully, Wisla's about to surprise you and the rest of us as well, as Dobbo is scoped in, waiting for them, sees the feed, sees the player, gets the kill, gets the second, and that's going to be the round gone. Goofy, Bonchik, so much to do, so little time and so few tools. Bonchik inside the Molotov will fall, and Gamerlegion take the first. The question is, can Wisla bring it back on the second map of Train? Stay tuned to find out.